Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are St. Louis.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball, and a big crowd is gathered here at Busch Stadium. The rubber game between the Los Angeles Dodgers and the St. Louis Cardinals on Fox Sports Midwest. And along with Tim McCarver, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Delighted to have you with us on this Sunday afternoon. Cardinals shuffle up their lineup here late. Peter Bourjos will bat leadoff, and at times he can be such an exciting player.
Well, the Cardinals have a bunch of hitters that can bat leadoff. Matt Carpenter, of course, Colton Wong not in there today, and Randall Grichuk could fill that spot. But Peter Bourjos has done very, very well, an improved offensive player this year. I don't think anybody could disagree with that. He is playing with a lot more aggressiveness, both at the plate. He was aggressive last year on the bases. Getting on the bases was the problem, not this year.
Brett Anderson, a lefty, gets the call for the Dodgers. And for St. Louis, Carlos Martinez. The Cards, the Dodgers. Game 3 comes your way next. from the Gateway City. The Arch is the backdrop, downtown St. Louis. It features two of the best teams in baseball. The Cardinals, 32-17. The LA Dodgers, 10 games above 500 at 29-19. Brett Anderson will get the call today for the Dodgers. Carlos Martinez will face Andre Ethier and Los Angeles. Is brought to you by Budweiser. Still brewed the hard way. This Bud's for you. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealers for great prices on our all-new 2015 vehicles today. Just a few moments ago here at Busch Stadium. Live look at Carlos Martinez, some of the emotional shots that we had about 5 minutes ago. Oscar Taveras, it was this day a year ago. He made his major league debut and homered against the San Francisco Giants. And you know it's an emotional day for that man wearing number 18. But you remember one of his great friends, that's Carlos Martinez. Number 18.
I'm sure Mike Matheny will keep a close eye on Carlos too, and hope that he can control his emotions early and not be wild early in the ball game.
Martinez, 9 starts, 4-2. ERA is under 4. And he's coming off arguably his best start of his career. 7 innings of shutout baseball. He has made 3 starts against the Dodgers in his career. And he did not make it through the 5th in any of those starts. But this is a different Carlos Martinez.
Yeah, it really is, Dan. You know, I mean, his last 2 starts, he's shown really signs of maturation that theretofore were not there. 13 1/3 innings of scoreless ball in his last 2 starts.
Jock Peterson leads it off for L.A. Then Alberto Callaspo, Adrian Gonzalez, Howie Kendrick, Andre Ethier, Yasmani Grandal, Alex Guerrero, Jimmy Rollins, and Brett Anderson. Every start, he'll put that in the dirt behind the mound. OT for Oscar Taveras. First pitch, hit out of play. We always talk about how emotional Martinez can be. And it really makes you wonder what will transpire here this afternoon.
Yeah, it does. Early in the ball game till things move along. But Carlos has been featuring that fastball. He's been throwing his fastball more and using his changeup in spots. That was one right there. But you establish your fastball first and then establish the changeup. Been working on it with Pedro Martinez the last 2 winters in the Dominican Republic.
Here's a 1-2. Got him again, the changeup. Carves up Jock Peterson, Missouri Lottery Fox Tracks.
See that grip with all 4 fingers? Well, that is a good changeup. Breaking ball, I think less so now since his changeup has developed as well as it has.
Really an effective pitch against left-handed batters.
Absolutely.
Callaspo, a switch hitter, slaps it the other way, and that's strike 2. They had a video montage of Oscar Taveras in many of the shots. You saw Carlos Martinez. There's the breaking ball in the dirt, 1-2. His first home run hit at Busch Stadium. Last home run hit at Busch Stadium. Good start and another changeup. 2 strikeouts for Carlos. Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's defense for the Cardinals. Grichuk, Borges, and Hayward in the outfield. Carpenter, Peralta, Cosma, and Reynolds along the infield. Yadier Molina behind the plate.
Dan, you think about how much sense the changeup makes. To be a good hitter, you have to stay back. What a changeup does, it prevents a hitter from staying back. He can't stay back. He follows the motion of the arm. He goes forward, loses his power, and that's what the first 2 hitters have done for the Dodgers today.
0-1 pitch. You have to gear up for a potential mid-90s fastball from Martinez.
Yeah, the disparity is great. 95 or 85 with the change.
Adrian Gonzalez, the 33-year-old former #1 overall pick. People forget, by the Florida Marlins at the time back in 2000. Now the Miami Marlins. The 2-1. That's hit the other way. Well hit. Grichuk going back and spun around and makes the catch. Randall Grichuk. Man,
he's everywhere.
Had a tremendous catch in left field last night late. And he bails out Martinez on that drive off the bat of Adrian Gonzalez. Nicely done, Randall Grichuk. What can he do? Borges will lead it off for Mike Matheny's club, followed by Matt Carpenter and Johnny Peralta here in the first. Randall Grichuk will bat cleanup. Yadier Molina, Mark Reynolds, Jason Hayward, Pete Kozma, and Carlos Martinez against left-hander Brett Anderson, making his 10th start this year.
You hear that term when Dodger players talk about Brett Anderson and they say he's sneaky fast. What that means is he throws a lot of breaking balls, and his fastball gets on top of hitters quicker than they think it does. So velocity, you know, you say a guy throws a 92-mile-an-hour fastball, but what's before that fastball?
Back to Anderson, and he'll step and throw it. Borges is the first out. Hyundai pitch arsenal to follow up your point. Only the fastball about 50% of the time.
So many breaking balls that the fastball, again, appears to be faster than it really is. And that's what pitching is. Art of fooling a hitter.
That's right.
Deception, great word.
Get him off balance.
Yep.
Not many people fooling this guy, though.
No.
What a hitter he is. Matt Carpenter, his 22nd multi-hit game last night in game 2. Brett Anderson is making his first career start against the Cardinals. He's yet to allow more than 4 runs in any outing this year. Breaking ball knocked out of play. No balls, 2 strikes. Kia in the driver's seat, multi-hit games. This is since 2013. Altuve, Carpenter, Beltre, Cano. Pretty good list. There's a line drive and a base hit into left center field. One out hit, and it brings in Johnny Peralta.
Not trying to do too much. Fastball away. He hits it away. How many times have Cardinal fans seen that stroke this year? 2 strikes, forget about it.
Very short lead at first by Carpenter, and Peralta hits this up top. Left field. Guerrero back. 2-0 St. Louis.
All major league hitters guess, and you just saw a guy who guessed right. Pitch, location, goodbye.
8 home runs now for Johnny Peralta. That's tied for the team lead with Matt Carpenter. Talked about it on Friday night in game 1. This guy can flat out hit.
Well said.
Grichuk out to center field, and Peterson is there.
In game 1, Peralta did such a good job with 2 strikes. This is the first pitch right down the pipe. Goodbye. Looking for a fastball. He got it. I thought his interview with Jim Hayes after the game on Friday was just terrific, and it showed what confidence Peralta is in right now. I mean, he is just locked in.
Cardinals have scored in the first inning of every game this homestand, 10 total runs. And in that at bat, you talked about, Tim, the adjustment with the slider on Friday night.
Yeah, right, with 2 strikes. Hit down the right field line with 2 strikes, hit down the left field line with 2 strikes.
Matt Holliday a late scratch in this lineup. So Peralta jumps into the third spot and knocks out a 2-run homer. 1-2 the count on Yadier Molina. Ground ball to Jimmy Rollins. Johnny Peralta, the Cardinals shortstop, hitting above 300 this year. 8 home runs, RBIs 28 and 29. One swing of the bat, 2-0 after 1 inning of play. Top of the second, and we check in for the first time with Jim Hayes.
And Dan, Mike Matheny was talking about the major league debut of Oscar Taveras 1 year ago today. He says he remembers the excitement and the hype surrounding it, and he said that Oscar was the type of player that deserved it. He said he understood how excited Cardinal fans were to finally get a chance to see Oscar play. And as Tim mentioned, Matheny says they'll keep a close eye on Martinez as well. He was a close friend of Oscar, just to make sure he's not trying to do too much. And Matheny says Carlos is still dealing with the loss of his friend, as are many of the Cardinals. And Mike says he understands that coping with it, quote, is bigger than the game. So, Dan, very emotional ceremony today, and also very well done.
Very well done by the Cardinals, and so far so good for Carlos Martinez.
Mm-hmm.
Andre Ethier. And a fastball in there for a strike. Calling the balls and strikes today, Marty Foster. Ethier off to a good start. Former Arizona State product.
Not only Arizona State, he went there with Dustin Pedroia of the Red Sox. They are about as close as two players can be in different leagues, but they're very, very close friends.
Let's take a look at Tim's Toyota keys to the game.
Keep building momentum. We mentioned 13 1/3 innings over the last 2 starts coming into today without giving up a run. Got to build that consistency and momentum.
Dodgers trying to build off of just scoring yesterday and winning that game. Really have struggled offensively on the road. The scoreless innings streak on the road was snapped at 42 last night, as Michael Wacha was cruising in game 2 and then looked like he hit a wall, and Rondell hit one out of the park, and this game was over.
Grandal hit that home run on a 3-1 fastball. And it was after that sensational at bat by Adrian Gonzalez. Walker threw him everything he had in his tank. Fouled off, fouled off, fouled off. He finally was hit by a 3-2 pitch.
Past the diving Carpenter and a base hit into left. First hit for the Dodgers. 1 year ago today, the rain was falling, and this one fell into the seats. Oscar Taveras, his major league debut. Not sure we have heard in the last 15, 20, 30 years more about a prospect in St. Louis than Oscar Taveras. People say, well, what about Pujols? Well, Pujols was in the minor leagues 1 year.
Yeah, Pujols also started the season with the Cardinals. Taveras didn't.
I felt 3 years ago in spring training they gave him a ton of at-bats to give him a long look, stay with the major league club. He was the best hitter in camp. I mean, he was that good in spring training that year.
Better than the veteran players,
oh,
right?
Yeah. Left to think what might have been. Very emotional with his mom and dad here. 3 brothers down on the field. 2-0 pitch. 2 balls and 1 strike on Grandal. He's just returned from the 7-day concussion list, which has been implemented by Major League Baseball last couple of years. The forefront of that was Mike Matheny, the Cardinals manager.
Yeah, the normal disabled list is 15 days. But I think the one thing instituted by baseball was really a good thing. The advent of knowing more about what happens when the brain is rattled, foul tips, things of that nature. So much more known now than even 5 years ago.
How many concussions do you think you dealt with?
I have no idea, Dan, but
multiple, I'm sure.
A lot.
Yeah,
a lot. And so did he.
2 balls, 2 strikes, and a check.
I mean, the routine is you can't be a major league catcher for any length of time without having your brain rattled with foul tips, collisions at home plate. I think the hockey mask that Molina uses better serves Yachty and catchers than the older masks. I can remember the bar mask, for crying out loud. I can remember when, when guys caught without helmets.
Crazy. With
soft hats. Helmets were considered, just don't do that.
Ethier was off with a pitch. It was a changeup again. Long way to go for Grichuk. Makes the catch. 2 down. They say the idea with the hockey mask is twofold. One, it deflects foul balls to the right or left. You see how it's not the square old mask that you were talking about. And the other thing is there's more padding in the front on the forehead.
And the chin area. And the other thing that it helps is when you throw to second base, the mask doesn't turn on catchers.
So 2 outs, and here's Alex Guerrero. Carl Crawford is on the DL. Yasiel Puig as well. So Guerrero getting the bulk of the time in left field. The bulk of his hits have gone for extra bases. Guerrero with 9 home runs, 5 doubles, a triple.
And obviously considered a rookie, but he's 27 years old.
Yeah.
He played 7 years for the Cuban national team. He is awfully strong. Was a second baseman for the better part of his career down there. And one of the problems the Dodgers had was finding a place for him. But it's a lot easier going from the infield to the outfield than the other way around. The reason for that is The ball on the infield's on top of you in a hurry.
In a split second.
Yeah.
0-2 pitch. Down the right field line. Hayward giving chase and out of play. Think about the Cardinals defensively with this alignment with Grichuk, Borges, Hayward. This is a very good defensive outfield.
It's a big league group of go-getters.
You bet. Some good speed, arms.
Oh, yeah.
Grichuk has made a couple of plays back-to-back days. I'm not sure that Holiday would have made those plays.
Or many left fielders would have made those plays.
Here's the 0-2. Got him. Tied him up, and a strikeout from Martinez, his third through 2 innings. Cardinals on top 2-0. For concussion. May 22nd. Foul ball off the mask, and then watch this. The follow through with the bat. That's Solarte. And Grandal was done for the night and then done for about a week. You don't even think about the follow throughs.
No.
Scary stuff. Off the glove of the second baseman, Howie Kendrick. And Reynolds is aboard to start the second for St. Louis. Third hit for the Cardinals.
Good signs for the Cardinals. They scored early in the first inning on Friday night. Last night they scored a run in the first inning and 2 in the first inning this afternoon.
Brings in Jason Hayward. Brett Anderson came to Los Angeles as a free agent. 6 big league seasons with Oakland and Colorado. And when right, it's ground ball after ground ball.
108 ground balls. He has the best ground ball percentage in the majors, 68.2%.
His career average, 56. Last year only made 8 starts. He was 1-3. Dealt with a broken finger, then a back issue. As a matter of fact, he's been injured the last 4 years and has totaled just around 200 innings in those 4 years. Out at second, the return throw safe.
That was a nice play by Adrian Gonzalez. He got rid of that ball so quickly, and the angle was good for him. Watch how he approaches, comes in on the ball. The throw to Rollins is there, but Hayward too speedy for the double play.
Here's Pete Kozma with Wong on the bench. The Cardinals have 2 left-handed bats on the bench today, Wong and Jay. From the right side, Holiday, Easley, and Cruz. Back to a 5-man bench. Kozma is hitting .119. No home runs, 1 RBI. It's not the hockey style that Molina uses, but Rundell with the big cushion, though, on the forehead. Two and 0. The count on Kozma. RBIs by situation. The Cardinals with 2 outs, 14th.
And with 1 out, they're first. It's interesting.
It is.
You try not to boggle you folks with too many numbers, but try to just pick out the ones that are salient. And with 2 outs, Cardinals 14th in the National League, but with 1 out and runners on base, they're first, scoring 101 times.
Cardinals have had so many late wins, and the extra inning games, I thought they would have scored late or with 2 outs more so than
I would have too.
Appeared to have done that. Hayward is picked off.
Again, Adrian Gonzalez is such a good hitter. Rarely is his defense talked about, but watch him come toward the ball. That's very important, particularly for a left-handed throwing first baseman. Watch. See, he goes toward the ball to get the angle to throw to Rollins inside the bag, and it's up to J-Roll to make the quick tag, and he did. Nice.
3-1 the count now on Kozma.
Matter of fact, the Cardinals scored both runs with 1 out today. The 2-run home run by Peralta.
It brings in Carlos Martinez. Anderson is the son of a former Oklahoma State baseball coach. Frank Anderson is also the longtime pitching coach at the University of Houston. Originally drafted by Arizona, then traded to Oakland. The deal that involves pretty big names. Dan Herron, Carlos Gonzalez, among others. Then traded to Colorado and signed as a free agent by Los Angeles. A 2-out walk to Kozma and a 1-0 pitch to Martinez. 2-0.
Gary Ward was the famous Oklahoma State baseball coach. He retired in 1996, and Tom Holliday took his place. That's Matt Holliday's dad. He coached until 2003, and then Brett's dad, Brett Anderson. Talk about what goes around comes around. T. Boone Pickens had to love it. He is the biggest contributor to Oklahoma State. I mean, major money that he has contributed.
Capital M-A.
Major money.
The athletic facilities have been updated thanks to T. Boone Pickens.
Yes, sir.
3-1. Oklahoma State in Stillwater. Back-to-back walks. That extends the inning now to Peter Borges.
I'll tell you, when a pitcher's been wild, particularly with 2 major league hitters, and one of them is a pitcher, be a first ball swinger right now. And the reason for that, pitchers are so conscious of the strike zone, particularly after they've been wild. So regardless, all Anderson's thinking about right now is throwing a strike. He doesn't care whether anything's on it. he wants to throw a strike because it's a bit embarrassing to walk two guys in a row, particularly when one's a pitcher. So if I'm Borges, I look for a fastball and go to whacking.
One thing about Peter, we've seen him take a lot of first pitch strikes too.
I know. I was thinking that.
This time he jumps on it. Rollins deep in the hole and makes a good play. You're right on it. And so is Borges. Just right at Jimmy Rollins. Cardinals strand 2. They lead by 2. By Steel Outdoor Power Equipment. Find a servicing Steel dealer at steeldealers.com or search STIHL. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. Kid Sports Socks giveaway. That's one reason they pack them in. We'll have our blue and red. They've got the old style powder blue on those socks. We'll have those on next week on the road trip.
You almost need those socks right now. A little chilly here at Busch today.
Guy on the left looks like David Letterman.
Well, he's retired now. Why not? making trips near his old hometown. He's from Indianapolis, right?
Check out the Cardinals and the Dodgers.
Sure.
Here's Jimmy Rollins trying to bunt his way on. Martinez, nice play.
Look where Carlos ended up. He's almost at second base right now.
Terrific athlete.
Oh, my gosh.
Very good fielder.
Oh, outstanding. This is not a bad bunt. Rollins' intent is to get it by Martinez. Can't do it. Nice.
It's by Martinez. It's a definite base hit.
Well, yeah.
Here's Brett Anderson hitting .083 after a visit from Molina with Martinez. Maybe to catch his breath, give him a little break.
Sure.
Then we'll see Jock Peterson. 2-0 Cardinals on a Johnny Peralta 2-run home run. Cardinals start play today 6 in front of Chicago and Pittsburgh. Pirates have been playing well. Winners of 8 of the last 10. Dodgers a half game in front of San Francisco.
Tim Lincecum was beaten by the Atlanta Braves last night at AT&T Park in San Francisco. Lincecum has pitched very well there this year, but not so last night. Just had a look at Clayton Kershaw. He starts tomorrow for the Dodgers against Colorado. Last year, Kershaw, the first pitcher MVP since Bob Gibson in 1968.
3-2. Kershaw was 21-3. And remember, he gave the rest of the league about a 5-week start, too, because they went to Australia. He came back, was on the DL.
That's right.
And a walk to the pitcher, Brett Anderson. Both pitchers have walked. Watch every out-of-market game live in high definition with MLB.TV Premium. #1 live streaming sports service. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more. Blackout and other restrictions may apply. Visit MLB.TV. 1968, Gibson, the author of the 1.12 ERA, 22 wins. And last year, Kershaw, 1.77 ERA. There's Jock Peterson, who's 1 for 9 in this series. So Kershaw, Greinke, Puig, and Ryu we have not seen. Ryu is done for the year. That's hit out of play.
As is Brandon McCarthy, operated on his right elbow. So they are missing 40% of their 5 starters.
We had a nice visit with Clayton Kershaw down in the Dodgers clubhouse before the game. He's doing some remarkable work at slicing foul in Africa, in his hometown of Dallas, Texas, in Los Angeles. He and his wife Ellen donate millions of dollars, raise millions of dollars to help with orphanages in Africa. He's building a couple of little league fields in Dallas. Neat guy. A changeup has been effective so far. That one was left up. This is out to right. Hayward is back, makes the catch up against the wall. Anderson back to the bag at first.
Good call, Dan. It was a changeup. It was high. And when that ball was first hit, I thought it was going to be at least up against the wall. Ball left up right around the letters. Peterson identifies it just a little out front. That's what we're talking about in that first inning. You could see Peterson spending his power a little bit, not waiting back, and that's what, again, what that changeup does to hitters.
Alberto Callaspo, switch hitting third baseman. Justin Turner sits today. Juan Uribe was traded this past week to the Atlanta Braves. Two balls and no strikes.
Pardon me, Dan, but so many major league players do so much that sometimes you hear about it, sometimes not. Adam Wainwright goes to Honduras this winter, building toilets, latrine facilities for the people in Honduras, helping with those. Mike Matheny going to South Africa. It was for a different reason. He went on a photographic safari this past winter.
And he also went down to the Dominican and met up with Carlos Martinez. As Martinez had the chance to visit with the kids in the area, the certain part of the country they went to, and also visit with the kids from the United States. 2-2 lifted down the left field line.
Mike said he was very, very proud of Carlos Martinez and the words that he delivered to some of the younger Dominican Republican children about making the right choices in particular.
The 2-2 pitch. Chop towards short. And Peralta makes the play. Midway through 3. Cardinals on top. It's 2-0. June 7th at T.R. Hughes Ballpark, home of the River City Rascals. And all proceeds from the event will benefit 5 charities. For more information or to purchase tickets, visit stlouisrams.com. And Jeff Fisher will join us on Tuesday night. He'll be in the booth with us.
And explain that lateral.
It's a miracle.
And it was a miracle.
They faced the Rams then in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Tennessee Titans.
Titans beat the Bills that afternoon.
Man.
Frank Wycheck, part of that.
How can that happen?
It did. I'm not sure how, but it did. And a strike to Carpenter, and we're underway. Home half of the third. Why is Matt Carpenter, when you watch him, Tim, such a good 2-strike hitter? What is it about him that he's able to do?
He's still. He waits for the ball to get deep.
Broken bat into shallow center. Jock Peterson, 1 away.
A lot of guys, even major league hitters, it's not a panic attack, but they have a tendency, because there are 2 strikes, not to be called out on a pitch. So therefore they rush their swing. Matt Carpenter sees no need to rush his swing at any time. And he waits back with 2 strikes, just like most guys wait back before 2 strikes. He's unaffected by 2 strikes. He's unaffected as much as any major league hitter, in my view, in existence today.
Peralta homered on the first pitch. We talked about it back then in the first, where we believe he was guessing because he came out of his shoes and knocked it into the bullpen. The best guessers with hitters, I guess catchers would come to mind. They think along with the pitcher.
Well, that is certainly a point, and I think they have an edge in that regard because they understand pitching so well. In other words, if you're a catcher, the reason you're not as good a hitter is because of the beating you take behind the plate. But if you are a good hitter as a catcher, one of the things that gives you an advantage is, for the most part, you know what pitches are thrown during certain pitch counts. 2-1, 1-0, 3-2, 3-1. You're more aware of them because you call pitches like that yourself. So it gives you an edge in the guessing game.
I've always felt that's been the case with Yadier Molina.
Yeah.
He thinks along so well with the pitcher.
Yeah. Sometimes what you can't do physically, you have to do mentally.
Third walk issued by Anderson. And reminder, Saturday, June 13th, walk home with the Cardinals pet leash, compliments of Nestle Purina. They're available to 25,000 pet lovers, ages 16 and older. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. So 3 walks and the 1-out walk issued to Peralta. It brings in Randall Grichuk, who lined to center first time up. You know when a player hits the ball hard with some of the routes that are taken by outfielders. We've seen some odd routes taken to go catch the ball off the bat of Randall Grichuk. Ball carries maybe a little bit more.
The other night with Guerrero in left field, he was frozen on that line drive right at him, a double over his head. Scored a run.
Really noticed it too in the series against the Mets. Juan Lagares, who's a Gold Glover, took a bad route on one of them. No balls in 2 strikes.
His size belies his strength. I mean, you don't look at Randall Grichuk and think that he's that strong. But when you're with him in the clubhouse and things like that, I mean, he is really wired physically. Great baseball body with those long muscles. Nothing lumpy about his physique.
No, sir.
I want to sound too physiological here.
Check swing and did not go. Evens it up at 2-2. It's against the Dodgers. He said he finally started coming into his own last year's postseason, had a home run off of Kershaw. He said you hit one off of him, how do you not get confident? How do you not feel like maybe I do belong? He pulls it foul.
You talking earlier in this homestand about why he lays the bat back. You know, when you think about that, it is a little odd. Why don't more hitters do it? It's a way of relaxing his hands. Doesn't matter how you start. How you start an at bat is not as important. If that were the case, everybody would have looked at number 6, Stan Musial, and said, "How can you? Nobody will be able to hit like that. Look at that, all coiled up." Yeah, till that ball was about 15 feet in front of home. I mean, that all good hitters, that little area 12 to 15 feet in front of home plate. That's when all good hitters look the same. Doesn't matter how they started, but they all look the same.
Hands will come back slightly.
Yeah,
Get
locked in,
yep.
right, and uncoil.
And he essentially said that to us. He said, you know it looks a lot different from a year ago. It is a way of a better plate coverage, relaxation. He said, but essentially my hands still get back to where they need to be from where it was last year. There's a base hit. The key for him will be consistency, not in the field. We know he can play this every day. It'll be right here.
Cobra quick on that inside fastball.
Going back to our guest hitters, I just always have felt, watching Molina for now 10+ years, he is a great guest hitter.
Got an edge.
Inning started with a fly out by Carpenter. Peralta walked. Grichuk the single to left. 1 ball, 1 strike. Last start for Brett Anderson, 7 innings. He hadn't done that since July 30th against the Cubs last season. Good breaking ball, 1-2. The Dodgers need him healthy with McCarthy out, Ryu out. They're searching for innings. And a fly ball lifted into right, backing up Ethier. And Grichuk is going to be doubled off of first base.
Oh boy. Bad play by Grichuk. Actually, a bad play by Peralta, too. Peralta should tag up, and Grichuk should get back. He never saw the ball off the bat.
We're at the top of the fourth. 2-0 Cardinals. AT&T U-verse Rewind. And this was back in the first inning. Johnny Peralta with a 2-run homer. First pitch of the at-bat after Carpenter had singled. That's all the scoring so far today. Adrian Gonzalez, Howie Kendrick, and Andre Ethier. Last season, the Dodgers 94-68, then knocked out of the playoffs again by the Cardinals, second consecutive year. They have not been to the World Series since 1988. Here's a 1-1. Good tailing action on that changeup from Martinez.
I'm just thinking about the play that ended the bottom of the third. You had so many guys messing up on that play that nobody got it right. Peralta didn't tag at second. Grichuk apparently thought it was 2 outs. And Adrian Gonzalez was way off the bag and had to scamper back to the bag. Now look at Grichuk. He's the one doubled off, but Peralta should be tagging there to go to third. And then Gonzalez, before that play, had to actually run back to first base to get Grichuk. What's he doing in shallow right? So you had one defender and 2 offenders on that play messing up. And Stan Musial used to see a play like that, and he'd say, "This is the big leagues." And that's the truth.
Yeah.
He's the first one that called it to my attention, and it scared me.
I bet.
When he said that. 19 years old when he said that. I'm sitting next to Stan Musial, and he said, "This is the big leagues." So this is Peralta. He should be tagging up. Ethier goes back on the ball. You can see Oquendo is trying to give somebody. He looked like he was on an aircraft carrier. Oh, that was funny. It's not funny, but it was funny.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
Certainly not a happy ending for the Cardinals. But
your first meeting with Stan, you remember it?
Spring training of 1960. And I was catching batting practice when he hit.
Eye-opening experience, I can only imagine. Pete Kozma puts that away.
I have no idea who was pitching. And the pitch was, he threw 3 pitches near the corner. And on every pitch, Stan would say, no, that's not quite a strike. He hadn't hit. In those days, guys didn't work out during the offseason. There was no hitting in a batting cage or didn't have a cage in their home and that. So you have to assume that this was Stan's first at bat in certainly, in 4 months. And his eyes were good enough to determine whether the ball was just off the plate or not. 3 straight pitches.
Was he right?
Yes. Yes, of course.
You weren't about to tell him, though. If it was
I mean, nobody has a better view than a catcher on pitches like that.
Sure.
He knew exactly where all 3 of them were. Yeah, he was something.
Howie Kendrick at the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Stan used to bring his trunk to spring training, and I was so impressed with that. Here's a man who has a trunk with his clothes in it. Not a suitcase, a trunk. Here's that pitch. Speaking of catchers knowing, he wanted that last pitch.
Not a suitcase, a trunk.
A trunk. Stan was so impressive in every way. He becomes the general manager in 1967 of the Cardinals. 1 year, he wins the World Series.
Right.
Nothing left. There's nothing left for me to do. This general managing's easy. I'm going back to my regular businesses.
It's amazing.
He was an amazing man in so many ways. Stash.
Little chopper towards second base. Kozma makes the play. You know, when you hear about people talk about an individual, great reverence and what a special person he was, but then they'll say, yeah, but, and then you have a story or two.
No, yeah, buts with Stan.
Never heard a negative thing said about the man.
No.
Ever.
I saw him mad one time in the Coliseum in 1961, and Leo DeRocher was boastfully walking back and forth. Dodgers had a 9-2 lead over the Cardinals, and Stan stood on the top step. He didn't like Leo. Leo used to say, put one in his ear when he was managing Brooklyn, meaning knock him down. And the Dodgers did that. Stan ended up hitting 74 career home runs against the Dodgers. Oh, that's where he got his name, at Ebbets Field in Brooklyn.
There's that man again.
But I thought it was somebody else. He was yelling at DeRocher, and he used profanity. And Stan never used profanity. But when Leo was involved, he did.
Is that right?
He did not like Leo DeRocher at all.
1-2 the count here on Andre Ethier. Ground ball that's hit to short. Peralta makes the play. 5 in a row set down by Martinez. The great Stan the man. 2-0. Home half of the fourth rolls in. We check in with Jim Hayes.
Referenced it. Matt Holliday was in the original starting lineup, but he was a late scratch. Mike Matheny saying Holliday is still dealing with some sort of flu-like virus. Holliday did start last night and walked, and he extended his on-base streak to start a season to 44. Came out of the game after that. Matheny saying he could tell that Holliday's condition was getting worse. As for the streak, Matheny is impressed. In fact, he says he doesn't think that streak is getting enough attention. Dan Mike says Holliday's availability as a pinch hitter off the bench today still a wait-and-see proposition.
Thank you, Jimmy. Well, you think about, Tim, the fact that he's the first ever in the National League to do what he's done to start a season. I mean, that in itself is an incredible feat at the age of 35.
44 straight games on base with either a hit by a pitch, a walk, or a hit.
Mark Reynolds at the plate. Let's talk with John Mozeliak about when he signed Matt Holliday. And the Cardinals acquired him on July 24th of 2009. And he said at the time they felt if they got him in this environment, he would want to stay in St. Louis, Midwest guy. But he said a lot of people looked at that deal as a way that we're going to keep Pujols here too. And he said, I never did that. I never looked at it in those terms. I looked at him as a separate entity. We knew he worked hard. He said he's been a great example to our young players. And now just in baseball terms, I'm not talking about everyday life, but he signed for over $100 million, and the deal is going to be a steal before it's all said and done.
No question about it.
2-2 pitch. Chop towards third. Callaspo makes the play. The Blues and Fox Sports Midwest are teaming up for the Coleman St. Louis Race for the Cure. That's Saturday, June 13th. All team members receive a special team hat, and they're invited to enjoy special pre-race activities. Just head to stlouisblues.com to sign up. In steps Hayward. As you said, we don't like to bog down the viewers with numbers. However, since he was acquired, Holiday in all of baseball, this is both leagues. There's a broken bat. Since that time, Tim, 5th in RBIs, 4th in doubles, 6th in runs, 6th in on-base percentage, 2nd in game-winning RBIs.
That's why over 100, slightly over 100's a steal. Already, I think.
Also what he provides in terms of leadership, playing every day, playing hurt.
Yep.
Two and two the count. Every time I see that with Hayward, I think Jonathan Neese and what took place a few years ago with Jason. Hard not to.
Jonathan Neese, a left-hander for the Mets, hitting Jason in the cheekbone, broke his cheek in 2 different places. That's why he's wearing that extra protection around the right side of his face.
The 3-2 pitch again, and a strikeout of Hayward. First strikeout for Anderson. If he gets number 2 today, it'll be number 400 of his career.
Remember that inside pitch? And Jason taking the breaking ball.
That inside pitch set up that breaking ball, undoubtedly.
Yeah.
So 2 outs. Here's Kozma, who walked, left stranded back in the 2nd. That breaking ball has gotten better as we've gone along.
Yeah, again, he throws so many breaking balls that it appears that his fastball is faster than you would expect, or than the radar gun would say.
0-2. Kozma had such a good spring, and now you watch him, and it's been a struggle this year.
That radar gun does not have a heart and eyes.
No.
No. It may say 92, but it's what it appears to be.
Very similar to what we saw on Friday night, too. All the breaking balls and off-speed pitches, and then occasionally slide in the fastball, and instead of being 88, 89, it feels like for a hitter 95.
That was from Mike Bolsinger, who gave up 2 earned runs on Friday night, a game won by the Cardinals 3-0.
The 2-2. Full count. Cardinals wrap up the homestand. Milwaukee coming to town tomorrow. Craig Counsell, the new manager of the Brewers. Strikeout of Kozma, and number 400 in the career of Brett Anderson. We head to the 5th. 2-0 St. Louis. Yeah, guys, we thought that could be an issue. The ceremony, looking back at the life and brief career of the major leagues, Oscar Taveras and his good friend, best friend on the mound, Carlos Martinez. And so far, just one base hit allowed. That was Andre Ethier back in the second. Yasmani Grandal leads it off, and there's a part of the family that is here. That's his father and brother. They're sitting in the owner's seats, located right by the Cardinals dugout. 2 balls and 1 strike. And a ground ball that's hit to second. Cosma to his right and makes the play. BJC Healthcare difference maker Carlos Martinez, his last 3 starts, the .98 ERA coming into play today.
He's gone 17 2/3 innings without a run being scored against him over 2.5 games.
He's got 7 ground ball outs to go along with 3 strikeouts so far today. So we play in the top of the 5th. When he came out of the bullpen, he was just electric when he first arrived on the scene. He was throwing 98 with that slider. And as you talked about, Tim, the changeup has really improved over the last couple of years.
It's necessary now that he's a starter. It was unnecessary his first couple of years with the Cardinals because he was only facing 1 man or 1 inning. I beg your pardon.
Look at that.
You can be an entirely different pitcher. And more often than not, you are when you come out of the bullpen. Because you can unload your arsenal. You don't need to pitch, you need to throw. But when you start, you have to pitch. So you can slowly see the culmination of a guy going from a thrower to a pitcher, and the way Carlos has handled his starting assignments this year.
Jimmy Rollins looks at his strike, tried to bunt his way on. Back in the 3rd, took a very good play by Martinez to hop off the mound and flip to Reynolds. 0-2. Been very calm today too, very collected on the mound.
Yes.
Sometimes you'll see him jumping off the mound, literally jumping off the mound, pounding his chest. You're not seeing any of that today. And the 1-2. Ground ball again. Reynolds, Martinez, 1, 2, 3, go the Dodgers. Cardinals with a lead of 2-0, and here's what they start with day one of spring training.
Cover first. Well, Martinez is one of the best in the game at that. I mean, he's so quick off the mound. We saw him field that bunt from Rollins the first time, and now when Rollins grounds to first, we have seen some pitchers that are not good on that play.
Or forget to go cover on that play.
Yes.
Seen that a couple of times from John Lackey this year.
We have.
One game it cost him. That was in Washington.
Cost him 5 earned runs.
How good was he the other night?
Oh, my gosh. Friday night with 9 strikeouts in 7 innings.
And I don't want to say it's a huge surprise because he's been around forever. He's had success. But when you see games like that, it catches your attention.
It really does.
1-2 pitch in the dirt. 2-2 on Martinez, who walked his first time up. And we'll see Peter Borges and Matt Carpenter here in the bottom of 5.
A lot of times, Dan, you can tell the effectiveness of a pitcher by the called strikes. Not always, as Martinez goes down on strikes, but when major league hitters are taking third strikes and they're getting up to third strikes, then you know that the ball's doing something that they don't normally see. So that's always a good sign when a pitcher is getting a lot of called strikes, because big league hitters are not picking up something.
Late movement.
Late movement. It could be a lot of things, but John had that on Friday night.
Love the drink run with any size, any flavor McCafe shake for just $1.99 at McDonald's. Here's a 1-0 pitch to Peter Borges. 2-0. Just 5 hits total in this game. 1 coming from the Dodgers. Been talked about so much around town, and for anybody that follows the team, John Jay is back. There's a strike. Healthy Peter Borges, Randall Grichuk, Holiday, Hayward. Who plays? And I look at it that it's a fairly simple answer. If you produce, you hit, you play.
Hit, you play. I don't like that play right there. A 3-1 pitch. He got a curveball. But to try to bunt your way to 3-2, I think that's a time you're sitting on a particular pitch. You want to hammer it instead of bunt at it.
3-2 deep into the hole between short and third, and a base hit for Peter Borges. Time to vote for your St. Louis Cardinal All-Stars. Vote 35 times on the 2015 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot. Voting is exclusively online and available on your computer, tablet, and smartphone. Vote early and vote often at Cardinals.com/vote. Carpenter is 1 for 2. Way off the line, Callaspo. This one counts, the All-Star Game.
Do I detect sarcasm there? Perhaps?
Just a little bit. Now, you did all those All-Star years, so, and I know what you guys were doing.
What?
You got to build it up, you know.
Why, sure. Promote.
And I'm all about it. I watch the All-Star Game. I'll watch it this year. I'll watch it next year. I'll watch it 20 years from now. I just don't like home field.
You don't like this time it counts.
Yeah.
It's better than giving home field advantage randomly. I mean, they did prior to that. They gave home field advantage randomly.
How about
American
interleague
League,
play?
National League, American League, National League.
How about interleague play? Let that decide it. Or is that too unbalanced?
Oh, I think it's going to be imbalanced because of an extra hitter in the American League. I think you're going to have weighted toward the American League, I would think.
This one counts. You bet. One ball, 2 strikes on Carpenter. Borges was running. Quick throw to second, and he's out. Anderson has picked off 2 today.
Heard about base runners getting reads on pitchers. Well, this particular pitcher's had a read on Cardinal base runners twice. Notice a stronger throw by Gonzalez needed to get Borges.
Hey, I want to go back to this one counts.
Okay.
So let's just say, for argument's sake, Adam Wainwright is healthy, and let's just say it's his turn in the rotation, happens to fall on the All-Star game, okay? So he's fully rested.
All right.
He's out there dealing. Why take him out if this one counts? Why do you have to make sure that not everybody gets an appearance, but it's 2 innings for this guy, 2 innings for that guy? Hey, if this one counts, I want Wainwright out there.
Well, I don't know.
I've stumped him. It's worked.
I'm not stumped. I'm not stumped. I'm just I quit.
Tim McCarver.
I'm just a quitter. What can I tell you? I have no answer.
That's just been my
It only
look
counts
at it.
to a certain degree. I mean, it counts under the guidelines of All-Star games past, for crying out loud. Come on. Put me on the spot like that. But it's not really putting me on the spot.
We may have to wrestle in between innings. Carpenter strikes out. Put down the headset. Let's go. Let's go WWE style. Right now.
I'm not young enough to wrestle.
Greatest players. Tim and I back from the ring. The 2015 induction class has been selected, and the Cardinals and Edward Jones congratulate the newest members of the Cardinals Hall of Fame: Kurt Flood, George Kissel, Ted Simmons, and Bob Forsch. Great class being inducted this August, by the way, which will be open to the public too. Good changeup again, 0-2 on Brett Anderson, who walked back in the third. Martinez has struck out 4, and he's allowed 1 base hit to Andre Ethier. That's it. Strikeout number 5. What's on tap presented by Budweiser. Milwaukee in town tomorrow. Jaime Garcia and Matt Garza. Lance Lynn, game 2. Mike Fiers, John Lackey, Jimmy Nelson on Wednesday. Come your way tomorrow at 6:30. The Budweiser What's on Tap.
Playing the Dodgers here and seeing Curt Flood, I think a lot of people don't realize how good a player Curt Flood was because of what happened. Him taking the first step toward free agency in that trade in 1969 to the Phillies, refused to go, took it all the way to the Supreme Court and lost. And then 5 years later, free agency hit in 1976. But Curt Flood was a superb ball player. Very, very smart. Great base runner, great defender, great hitter. Don Drysdale of the Dodgers called him at one time. Now here's the meanest pitcher, aside from Gibson, in the National League. Called him the toughest out in the National League.
Is that right?
Don Drysdale. And he was a right-handed pitcher. Curt was a right-handed hitter. So
I know you love the history of the game, and you've got so many wonderful stories for our fans. And Carlos Villanueva, who is very active in the Players Association, now holds one of the highest positions with the association. We've talked at length.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
We've talked at length about Curt Flood, and he has great respect for Curt and what he meant to the players of today.
And what he meant to the game, and, and what the game has become. Along with Marvin Miller, the head of the Players Association, both should be in the Hall of Fame, in my view, and in the views of others.
One-out walk to Peterson, and it brings in Callaspo.
You know, that move broke him. He had no money.
Exactly right.
The irony of it all. I mean, a guy who was fighting for the right to be moved at your will, at your behest, instead of being chattel.
Curious case of Curt Flood.
Yeah.
For anybody that wants to know, especially for our younger viewers, if you want to know what he was all about and to see what he went through, it was an HBO documentary, and they did a
fabulous,
tremendous job with that.
Fabulous.
Very complex man, too.
And his humor was lethal. Wonderful. Could cut you in two and make you smile.
He and Bob Gibson, roommates.
Right? For years.
Two balls, no strikes. You know, the guy who used to always talk about him a lot, of the current players, Sam Freeman, who's now with the Texas Rangers.
Texas,
yeah,
right.
Sam always wanted to know more about the history of the game and read a few books on Curt Flood, to his credit.
Sam's a smart guy.
He said to me, "That's one guy I wish I could have met." I'm not sure the everyday player of today, has any understanding what Curt Flood has done for them.
And more so now than, say, 20 years ago, I think.
3-2.
That was a big pitch right there. After walking only one, to walk two in a row, that could spell trouble. Need to make Callaspo put the ball in play with Gonzalez on deck.
Peterson can run. He's at first. There he goes. Jock Peterson was actually a 30-30 man last year in the PCL.
First time that's happened in the Pacific Coast League since 1935.
Martinez finally set. Reynolds can't feel his hand. Carlos put that about 95 from the mound to try to get.
Throws as hard to first
man.
as he does home.
Goodness.
He's got such quick feet. Here's a previous pickoff attempt. Watch his follow through. Oomph behind it.
I'd say so. It's like a delivery to the plate. A little shorter lead this time. And Peterson was not running. Play made by the ball boy down the right field line. Hopefully he's brought his protective gear. Ball's taken low. And a walk to Callaspo. And a visit now by Derek Lilliquist.
You saw that non-throw by Yadier Molina. What a catcher wants in that situation. 3-2 with the possibility of the runner running at first base. You want a quick call from the home plate umpire. And the reason you want a quick call, because if he doesn't give you a quick call, if he gives you a delayed call, well, then Molina may throw the ball through as he's calling ball 4, and it would be unnecessary. Two walks to get to Gonzalez.
I was just about to say, Tim,
that's a bad sign.
This might be the biggest at bat of the game right here.
Yeah, kind of like Gonzalez's at bat was last night in the 6th inning before the Grandal home run.
.382 with runners in scoring position. Took a really good play by Grichuk to take a hit away from Gonzalez back in the 1st on the track, and then grounded out to 2nd in the 4th. 1 out, 2 on. Fastball taken low and away. Here's a 2-0. 2-1. More than likely the final inning here for Martinez as he approaches 100 pitches. Cardinals with activity in the pen. The 2-1. Now 2-2.
That might be the best fastball he's thrown all day. He cut that one loose.
Got him. Fastball, then changeup.
Pitch by pitch. Concern because the first pitch a ball. Concern. Second pitch a ball. 2-0 pitch outside corner. The 2-1 a fastball. Set it up for the changeup to get him.
There's a foul ball off the bat of Howie Kendrick. Well, that's pitch in there, wasn't it?
That was. They're coming back all the way to get Adrian Gonzalez, one of the feared clutch hitters in this league.
Howie Kendrick twice is grounded out to second. 0-2. One strike away from getting out of the dangerous 6th inning here. This crowd comes alive. Seven strikeouts for Martinez. At the time we mentioned maybe the biggest at bat of the game, and Martinez strikes out Gonzalez. Johnny Peralta will lead it off for the Cardinals. So Martinez does what Walker could not do last night, that 6th inning.
Yeah. You know, that at bat by Adrian Gonzalez last night, he ended up being hit by a 3-2 pitch after it was about a 13-14 pitch at bat, something like that. And that was a key because Grandal hit the 3-run home run after that at bat.
Just didn't know what you'd get from Carlos Martinez today because of the emotions of the afternoon. Very emotional kid, as we've seen.
Understandably, sure.
Yes.
Sure. Best friend.
This changeup as good as we've seen all year.
Same arm motion as the fastball, and that's the key. He's throwing it in such a relaxed fashion, it appears today.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Peralta. Peralta's 2-run homer back in the first. The difference so far in this game, Cardinals with 5 hits. The Dodgers just 1 against Martinez. On the inside corner and a strikeout. Number 5 today. So 1-hit baseball in 6 innings for Martinez.
It's that same arm motion. These are all changeups. When you throw that hard and then throw that softly, you get good results. key to that, obviously, and Derek Lilliquist preaches that. The key is the same arm position.
Strike two, Randall Grichuk.
Can't determine what's a fastball and what's a change. Get him in that pendulum.
Does Martinez go back out for the 7th inning?
I think so.
Yeah, I thought it might be his final inning of work, and no one has come over to shake hands. Usually you see the hugs and the handshakes. We haven't seen that. All we see is a towel over the head of Martinez.
Usually that means the pitcher's going back for the next inning when that towel's still over the head.
It's sharply to third.
Wow.
Callaspo, what a play.
Wow.
Outstanding.
That's a big league play right there. Backhanded, in between hop, spins around, strong arm. Good play.
So Grichuk now 1 for 3. And it brings in Molina. Yachty has grounded out to second, or rather shortstop, and also lined into a double play, and a mistake by Grichuk, the runner at first base. So 2 outs, nobody on. It's slowly to third. Callaspo, the toss to Gonzalez. Cardinals go in order. We head to the 7th. 2-0 St. Louis. Ages 21 and older, the 5th Stein in the championship series, which highlights the 30th anniversary of the Cardinals' 1985 National League Championship team. Tickets are available at cardinals.com/promotions. Well, we wondered, at least I did, whether or not Carlos Martinez would come back out. Here he is. And why not? He's allowed just 1 hit. Meanwhile, the Cardinals are getting set in the pen with Segrist on the right and Seth Maness on the left. And the gloves popping out there in the bullpen. Andre Ethier. Always find it interesting how certain guys get loose. And Maness is one that can get loose in a hurry. Other guys, it takes a little bit longer. They start to stretch around the 5th. Maybe play catch with an outfielder between innings. Peralta quickly to first. The stretch by Reynolds. And Ethier out in front looked to be the changeup again.
Yeah. Off the end of the bat. Carlos Martinez had an idea about trying to flag it down. Thought better of it. And Peralta made the long throw.
Grandal is flied out to left, also grounded to second. 0 for 2. Martinez trying to match his season high in terms of innings, which is 7. A breaking ball lifted out to left. There's Grichuk. 2 down. Carlos has struck out 7. His season high is 8. He's done that 4 times. Alex Guerrero is 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. Cardinals are trying to be so cautious if they can with Waka, Martinez, Garcia. They do look at pitch counts. They look at innings. They've got to love seeing what could be a very quick 7th here. It's about today, but it's about the long haul too, of keeping guys fresh every 5th day if they can. This inning, 6 pitches. And a strikeout. 8 strikeouts today for Carlos Martinez. Time to stretch here at Busch Stadium. 2-0 St. Louis. The Gateway Honda dealers will donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. As they walked off the field after the strikeout, Yadier Molina flipped this baseball to the Oscar Taveras family. 8 strikeouts today for Carlos Martinez.
I tell you, that's a lot warmer sight than we saw about 48 hours ago, less than 48 hours ago, when A.J. Ellis was kicked out of the game on Friday night. And then we didn't have access to it. We had no idea why he was ejected. But Mike Winters, the home plate umpire, he's at second base today. He said that A.J. Ellis, he told Ellis he was not making the proper presentation of the pitches. And that's why he had such a bad game.
It is shallow right.
I mean, the audacity of an umpire saying something like that to a player, I find reprehensible.
That's one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard.
It is a ridiculous thing.
His job is to call balls and strikes.
Right, right. You know, I had an incident like that once with a Hall of Fame umpire. I'll tell you who it is, Doug Harvey. And Doug Harvey, I was having a tough time catching a particular pitcher. Ball was moving late on me. It was Mike Torres, I believe. And the ball was moving late. I got hit in the forearm once trying to catch the ball. That's how much the ball was moving. Well, because of the late movements, some of them were getting through, and one of them hit Harvey. And he said, "Hey, Iron Hands." Called me Iron Hands.
Out to left and a base hit for Hayward.
And the reason he called me that, the ball got through and it hit him. And I said, "Doug, I'm doing the best I can back here. And I don't like being called Iron Hands, all right?" And I turned around and I said, "If you don't like it back here, why don't you get another job and get into another business?" He ran me. Okay? Now, fast forward 1998. I'm doing the World Series with Joe Buck and Bob Brenly in San Diego. Doug Harvey is writing an article for the Los Angeles Times, and he criticizes both Brenly and me for getting on the umpires. And he said, "I used to call one of them, I won't tell you which one, but I used to call one of them Iron Hands."
Come on.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you, that is the truth. Paybacks this afternoon.
Well, at least you let it go.
Yeah, I let it go all right.
Good for you.
I mean, the audacity of an umpire, you know, I mean, like A.J. Ellis the other night, that he's not making the proper presentation. So the umpire's criticizing the catcher for not catching the ball properly and blaming the catcher for his inefficiency behind the plate.
Right.
It's nonsense.
Here's Colton Wong, the pinch hitter.
I mean, there are a lot of people who criticize players' performances. There are fans that don't like them. There are opposing players. There are writers that don't like guys and stuff. But when an umpire gets on you, and when he calls you, for the most part, in my case, it was, you know, say Iron Hands is an old expression that you have, that you drop a lot of balls and stuff like that. And when you work that hard for that many years, you don't like anybody telling you that, you know, in other words, you're not trying.
Well, here's what I don't like. My understanding was there was a pool reporter sent down to talk to Mike Winters on Friday night, and he refused to talk. Now, we asked these players to talk after games and explain, hey, why did you throw this pitch in this situation that got put out of the street?
Right.
What happened with this situation? When things aren't going right, we ask them to step forward and be accountable, to speak to those, the media.
That's right.
That is the conduit between the fan and them.
Right.
We're trying to sell the game, right? That's part of it.
That's right.
And yet the umpire does not have to explain his calls, and I don't agree with that.
No.
Or why a particular player got thrown out. Tell me why you threw him out.
Yeah.
Explain what you said to him. Everybody else is asked to do that, and you're not. I don't buy it.
No. Sorry.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Colton Wong. And a ground ball that's hit to second. Can they get 2? 4-6-3 on the double play. We head to the 8th. 2-0 St. Louis. Mazda game summary, 2-0 Cardinals. Anderson, 6 innings for the Dodgers. Ethier is 1 for 3. Carlos Martinez, terrific here today. 1 hit allowed in 7 innings. And Peralta, 1 for 3, 2-run homer. And that's the difference in the game so far. Our Chevy call to the pen takes us to the 8th inning. And right now, falling into this role, Kevin Segrist.
He is a different pitcher. We talked about him often. He was in Friday's game. The reason he's a different pitcher, he doesn't have to get only left-handers out. He can get right-handers and left-handers out now with an assortment of fastball, change, slider.
Hyundai pitch arsenal, primarily the fastball, but changeup and the curveball. Switch hitting Jimmy Rollins. They turn him around. 0-2 the count. Carlos Martinez, magnificent here today. Just wonder what's going through his mind this afternoon.
Running a scoreless inning streak to 20 in the 3rd innings.
How about that?
Also.
We forget, Tim, he is only 23 years old. 23. You know, Jock Peterson, everybody talks about this great prospect, and he is. And he should be talked about in that manner. A strikeout of Rollins. He's 23. Bryant and some of the others we talk about, that's Carlos Martinez's age. Just he's been around for a while now.
Mike Trout's an old veteran in his 5th year in the major leagues. He's 24. Bryce Harper.
Kiki Hernandez, who was part of a double switch last inning. The Dodgers cannot come back in this game. They would drop to 8-13 on the road. Only the Phillies are below that with 7 road wins. 0-2 pitch. Segrist, back-to-back strikeouts. Next time you're looking for great seats, get to StubHub. On StubHub, you can grab Cardinals tickets all season long, even at the last minute, and even if the game is sold out. So get to StubHub today. StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Cardinals. Collectively, the Dodgers have struck out 10 times in this game. Here's Jock Peterson, who struck out against Martinez in the 1st, fly to deep right in the 3rd, and walked in the 6th. In the air. Right center, well hit, and gone. Jock Peterson, his 13th home run. And it cuts into the lead. It's now 2-1.
Well, we talked earlier about Johnny Peralta going up and looking for a pitch. It appeared Jock Peterson did the same thing. Looking for that inside fastball. He got it. He's a very, very good hitter against left-handed pitching. Boy, he unloads this one. Shows that raw power of the 23-year-old rookie.
Alberto Callaspo. Back-to-back hitters aggressive on that first pitch from Segrist. Out of play, that'll find the seats. 1-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Rosenthal has been up and throwing in the pen. The 2-2. And he strikes out the side. Gives up the home run to Peterson, but 3 strikeouts in the inning for Segrist. We head to the bottom of the 8th. Good ball game, 2-1. Ball is brought to you by Bud Light Lime, the perfect beer for whatever happens. Players to watch, DraftKings.com. Enter the promo code CARDS. Highest batting average for Major League Baseball's shortstops this season. Iglesias, slick fielder, Crawford, Peralta in there, who was homered here today. Here's John Jay. Jay added to the roster on Friday night. We saw a long pinch hit and a base hit. Also singled yesterday. Balls behind, no balls and 2 strikes.
I think every Cardinal fan knows how good a 2-strike hitter John Jay is.
And he pulls it foul.
Chris Hatcher's impressive. First time I've seen him in a couple of years was with Miami. Came over in the D. Gordon trade. D. Gordon leading the majors in hitting coming into today's action.
Who would have thought that, huh?
Oh, man. Made such major strides for the Dodgers, did Gordon last year. But, I mean, to lead the league in hitting, to lead the majors in hitting, first 2 months of the season.
He was awful in the second half of last year.
Yeah,
D.
right.
Gordon.
Right.
This is phase 2 of the new ownership group, where Andrew Friedman is the president of baseball operations. Comes from Tampa Bay, brings that small market discipline, maybe is the word to use with Los Angeles.
That's a good word. That's a good word for that market.
You know, you think about it, Tim, they had a lot of money they knew coming in with a new TV deal, and after the debacle of the McCourt's ownership group really turned off a lot of fans. So they went out and spent
Frank and
money.
Jamie McCourt.
Yeah. So they go out and spend money, make the big splash, try to get people back involved. They did that. But good at bat again by Jay. But the idea was, okay, now let's be a little bit more sensible with the contracts we hand out. T-Mobile game changer. Cardinals at home. Highest run differential at home this season. The Cardinals plus 33. How about Minnesota?
Unbelievable.
I mean, they're getting some attention now, as well as they should too.
10 games over 500.
Paul Molitor, the Hall of Famer, their manager, and we'll see them this year in interleague play.
They were blown out by Detroit the first 3 games of the season. Remember that series up there? Well, since then, they have just been unbelievable. Molitor's done such a great job, and Neil Allen is their pitching coach.
In the air, Gonzalez makes the play.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, the Neil Allen that was here in St. Louis.
1983, June 14th of 83, Neil Allen and Rick Ownby were traded from the New York Mets to the St. Louis Cardinals for Keith Hernandez. Keith Hernandez just soldered that Met ball club. Really great teams throughout the 80s. Keith Hernandez, a borderline Hall of Famer himself.
You said, and this is quite the statement, the best defensive first baseman you've seen.
The best I've ever seen, yes. How can you be any better?
Former MVP 1979.
Right. Shared it with Willie Stargell that year. But Neil Allen, yes, that Neil Allen is the pitching coach, first year in Minnesota, and is just doing a bang-up job. Nice to see.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to Carpenter. 2-0. It's really turned out to be a tough division, too. Kansas City leads by a half game. They're 29-18. As you mentioned, Twins 10 games above 500. Detroit 3 back. Cleveland with their pitching slowly but surely after a bad start. They're edging closer to 500, 3 games below. And then you have Chicago 4 games below 500, 22-26. It seemed like the division you always could count on to have a couple of great teams, the American League East. And there's nobody there that's running away with it.
No.
You've got 5 teams within 4 games.
It's a jump ball in that division.
It really is. 3-0 on Carpenter. Matt has singled and scored in the first. He's flying to center and also struck out. 3-1. And it's a walk. So 2 walks in the inning. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. So we'll have a double switch. Justin Turner will come into the game. And we'll head to a timeout. Tell you about the changes when we come back. Runners at first and second. And Johnny Peralta, who's homered today, due up. An American tradition comes to Fox, and Fox Sports 1 for the first time as the greatest golfers in the world. And the coverage on the Pacific Northwest for a chance to stamp their names in the history books. Our exclusive coverage of the 115th U.S. Open Championship live from Chambers Bay Golf Course begins June 18th on Fox Sports 1, Fox, and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Yimi Garcia, our Chevy Cole to the pin. Garcia will face Peralta. Justin Turner takes over at third base.
Garcia in last night's ball game. Justin Turner, by the way, will hit 7th. Garcia in that number 2 hole. That's the Dodger that made the last out in the 8th inning.
Rosenthal is getting loose in the pen. They'll have Gonzalez, Kendrick, and Ethier due up. Part of the lineup for the Dodgers in the 9th. 1 out, 2 on. And a slider taken low and away by Johnny Peralta.
Johnny guessed and connected his first time up. He guessed and fouled it back. His 4th time up.
Yeah, when you see a swing like that, he's guessing.
The old leave your feet swing. That'll usually bring a catcher out to talk to a pitcher.
One ball, 1 strike. Hit out of play. Garcia may have gotten away with the fact that his shortstop was out of position to come in and try to pick off the runner at second base. Rollins came flying in, then Kendrick did, and neither was back even close to being near their positions.
Well, usually a pitcher steps off when that happens. Get back to what Johnny Peralta told Jim Hayes on Friday night about how comfortable he was now with 2 strikes. Friday night having a great game with 2 at-bats with 2 2-strike hits.
2-2 may drop into shallow right. It does drop. Jay read it perfectly and scores.
Boy, great read is right. That's why you get on base and check the outfielders. Where are they playing? That way you're able to read the ball off the bat. You know, you've already figured out where they're playing. You know how hard the ball is hit. And John Jay, a moment's hesitation, then I'm trying. Jose Oquendo had the same thing in mind. Very nice.
Some insurance for the Cardinals, and Martinez loved it. Now Randall Grichuk, who was robbed by third baseman Callaspo last time up in the 6th. That pitch in the dirt. This series in the first inning, 4 runs, and after that just 3 for the Cardinals. Runners at first and second.
That was a big run John Jay scored.
Cardinals get back their 2-run lead, and a fastball taken for a strike, 1-1. Pat Sharper, who is watching in Iowa on Fox Sports Midwest. Big Cardinals fan. We all wanted to wish her well here. It's fouled back. 1-2 the count. Her husband, the former baseball coach at the University of Iowa, never misses a game.
Wow, it's nice.
One-two pitch. The strikeout of Grichuk. 2 outs. Brings in Yadier Molina. 0 for 3 today. See the center fielder Peterson shading Molina into right center. There's strike 1.
I wish I knew as a player what I found out as a broadcaster. I wish I knew that all you had to do was look at the outfield and figure out how they were going to pitch you.
Yeah.
And I found that out. It only took me 20 years to find that out, and then I couldn't hit anymore. It wouldn't let me play anymore.
Base hit out to left. Viltes Guerrero. Throw to the plate is in time.
Oh, great play by Grandal. You make a catch, and believe me, that catcher's mitt is not designed to scoop a ball out of the dirt. Not only making the catch, but the diving tag to get Carpenter. That's a fine play by Grandal.
Two hits allowed by Cardinals pitching here today. One by Carlos Martinez, a solo home run given up by Segras. That's been it. As they turn it over now to their closer, Trevor Rosenthal. And this will be our Chevy called to the pen as Rosenthal is trying to pick up save number 15. Been a tough day on the bases for the Cardinals.
Yeah, it has. But, I mean, you've got to try with Matt Carpenter. He's not the fastest of Cardinals.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but you have a 2-run lead. If you're Jose Oquendo, you send him 100 out of 100 times. Guerrero, really with an infielder's arm in left field. That's another thing that adds to it. Kiki Guerrero and not Alex.
And so here is Gonzalez. Cardinals twice were picked off.
Yeah.
By the starter.
Yeah.
You had the double play with Grichuk and the fly ball to right.
That was a blunder right there. Real gaff. Yeah.
2 balls and no strikes.
I'll tell you what looks big right now, that run that John Jay scored with the middle of the lineup. You've got Gonzalez, Kendrick, and Ethier coming up against Rosenthal.
Fly ball left field. Near the line, Grichuk makes the catch. It's fun to watch, isn't he?
I'll tell you, he came a long way for that ball. Got to respect the power of Gonzalez. You got to play him relatively deep to left field. He has good power the other way. So Randall, a long run to make the play. Nice.
Rosenthal trying to pick up save number 15. He would tie Casilla for second most in the National League. Drew Storn of the Nationals with 16. Howie Kendrick hitless in 3 plate appearances. Oh, and 2. What has been good to see here, Tim, is Rosenthal much, and I mean much better at home this year as opposed to what we saw a year ago. For whatever reason, the splits were, well, it was a big difference. Road at home.
Big gap. You're right. Almost frenetically nervous at home, and you don't see that this year. Just not there.
Here's the 0-2.
It's interesting to read players' body language. You know, you're around the game all the time, and it's our business. And it's so reassuring to see that positive body language. A guy may be struggling, but if you're struggling with the positive.
Diving stop at second. What a play for out number 2.
That's good for body language right there.
I'd say.
You're a pitcher. What a play by Wong. You had the play by Grichuk, now the play by Wong, and the Cardinals are flashing the leather.
At home last year, the ERA was over 4. This year, just over 1, and these fans on their feet. Andre Ethier. Cardinals 1 out away from going to 20-6 here at home.
Oh boy, got a 2-run lead. You want to pitch like it. If you have to run it up there and put it on a tee, you do that with Andre Ethier. No walks here.
3-1. The Tavares family watching. Three and 2. Tying run will come to the plate. Our Budweiser player of the game, today's starter, Carlos Martinez, 1 hit in 7 innings. I thought his 6th inning, the biggest of the afternoon, Tim, when he had runners at first and second following back-to-back walks, a strikeout of Gonzalez, and then the strikeout of Kendrick.
That was after falling behind 2-0 to one of the best hitters in the National League in Adrian Gonzalez. And he fought his way back to retire both Gonzalez and Kendrick.
Yasmani Grandal is a switch hitter. Because of that, Reynolds playing behind the runner, Ethier at first. Strike 1. One ball, 1 strike. If you're Ethier, they're giving you second base.
Cardinals are doing that for a reason. This run means nothing.
And now Molina out to visit.
It's almost like if you're Mark Reynolds at first base, you're playing like there's nobody on first.
If they're giving you second base, why don't you take it?
I don't think you should in this situation.
Just to
That's
disrupt
why they're
the
giving
hitter?
it to you. Maybe, yeah. I mean, there's a forced play at second base. That is the only reason from a base running advantage that would give you a bit of an edge as opposed to being on first.
The 2-1. And again, the Dodgers down to their final strike.
Keep in mind, Grandal with tremendous power. 3-run homer last night.
Full count. Ethier off with the pitch, and that's to the backstop. A wild pitch by Rosenthal. Now the tying runs are on. The go-ahead run comes to the plate in Justin Turner. Twice the Dodgers have been down to their final strike. This 3-1 St. Louis lead.
I'm a little surprised the Dodgers don't put Chris Heisey in to pinch run here. I think they're doing that right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to. They do have a third catcher also. You got A.J. Ellis, of course, but you have Austin Barnes also. Well, they're putting Barnes in to run, so evidently I didn't know Barnes was that fast a runner, so he represents the potential tying run. So
outfield extremely deep. Turner has 5 home runs this year. First plate appearance today, coming off the bench, part of a double switch.
He's the guy who broke up Michael Wacha's no-hitter in the 6th inning last night.
Fastball at 98.
Woo. Gas to gas. Good fastball, good swing.
Well, there's some pitches that look they had the extra giddy up. That one had it.
That one had it.
0-1 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. We talked about it on Friday night. This guy is a good hitter.
Yes, he is.
And has done his damage against righties. One and two. It's a big call right there.
Justin thought that ball was outside. I think he got the corner. I think Molina may have stolen one then. If it was outside, at pulling right there or holding it to give the umpire a good shot at it.
So again, the Dodgers down to their final strike. On the outside corner, strikeout of Turner. Back to back on the outside corner. He can't believe it. Cardinals love it. 3-1 the final.
And I think Justin Turner was run. Of course, the game's over. That's close enough to. It's close enough to call. It's close enough to swing at. That was 2 nasty pitches on that 1-1 fastball and 1-2 fastball. Can understand Turner's frustration, but those are tough pitches.
On to the post-game show. Rick and Pat standing by with all the highlights and stats. A look around Major League Baseball and a special afternoon for the Tavares family here at Busch Stadium. 3-1 the final.